Good afternoon. This is Steve with Born Again Torinos, and I have a little bit of an update for you. I have been working feverishly on this Torino. Got some things done. I will start highlighting them. I hope you can see the color differences here. I am 95% done with these opera windows. This is the final touches here. This is always a tough spot right here, this curve, getting that, because there's a hole here for a trim for the vinyl top, which is, it's got to be gone. And board sanded the roof, took those out really nicely, and in sanding discovered some more small dents. I'm not sure how people dent roofs of cars, maybe put stuff on it or something, I'm not sure, but this is feeling very nice. And this is that spot that had the lead. This is from the factory. They lead the seam in right here. And you can see this dark spot. This is the beauty of a guide coat, because I board sanded that and that remained. So it's obviously low right there. So that'll be very easy to spot and fix. This got all sanded. It's just beautiful. This was fun. The polyurethane, no more cracking because I had to sand off the paint. So that's, you can see the original, it was a metallic dark green. I've had 2, 3, 4 Torinos with this color. It's a very pretty factory green, very dark. That came out real nice. It's got the typical warpage over the years, and this side is very much like the other side, finishing it up right here. And a couple more spots. See how the high spot came through? Sanding. And that's awfully smooth there. Very nice. You see here? See the shine in here? Here, there. That is low spots. And all the cars I've ever had factory paint on them, so they were all a single stage enamel. I've never had to deal with clear coat, and I think that's what's on here. I think that's the brittleness that I ran into on this paint job. I think it's a clear coat. And the weird thing about it is when you sand it, it turns a light, almost a white when you're sanding, and it makes it really clear where there's problems. Can you see that? These low spots, and there. So it's going to make finding problems nice. And in doing that, I had to sand the entire black stripe off because it was encased in clear. So it was all sanded off, and then this will have to be feathered once I get to this quarter panel. But I wanted to get that initial black stripe off, and my goodness, that took a while. But notice here, this is a good example of, this is the sanding. I was sanding here and it turned light color, and it's showing all these flaws in the paint, making it very easy to work them out. And here's the guy's, his fix of the studs for the trim. So all of that has to be redone, the entire length of the car, all the way down on both sides. And I jammed in the doors. They are, and put the original, the rubber back in. It looks like someone has put new rubber in this. This is very soft, it's not broken, it came off nicely. So that's been replaced. And the other guy who did this, he left in the lights, even though when he put the headliner in, he did not put the dome light back in. So it's just solid. But these are for the dome light, because that's the only lights this car had. It doesn't have the deluxe light package with lights on the feet and all that. But he just painted over these on the car. And so I took them off, got all the paint off, plugged them back in, and painted up all around. And you can notice that the 2B is, here's a good example. Here's what he had, which I think could be maybe a Viper Red. And then here's the 2B. See how it's orangier? So you can see the difference in the color. There's a line here. Oh, now it's already dusty. It's missing the windlace here. Goes in here, goes up here, and it goes in that hole, and it snaps in. That's missing on both sides. And I had to add some stuff because they weren't here. A good example would be these plastic guys here. I think there was one of those and one of these, and so I went to my stash and I got another one of those and another one of these for the other side and painted them with duplicolor. This doesn't have the, it has the seat belts here, but it doesn't have them. They're missing here. But I don't know if Tony ever is planning on having anyone ride back here. And I can't see it from here. I wasn't contracted to do the interior of this car because someone had put new carpet in it, which is nice. But they didn't cut out the holes for the brackets that the seat bolts, it snaps onto it. It's a hook. So I cut those out. I have a template of an old hat shelf, and since this was missing the hat shelf, I went ahead and put one in. And that's something that Tony can do later on, because I made him some sight shields. So those are black, those are on there. Got this here, the seat, also the hold downs for the hat shelf were missing, so I put those on. Bolted the seat back on because it was just sitting there on the hooks. And there's two big bolts that hold these middle arms down. It was also missing the armrests, so now it has armrests. And that's just a nice touch to have. I think, I'm not sure, but I think Tony's going to have the interior redone. I can't tell for sure, but it looks like the emblem, it's really dark. It looks like a Mercury emblem. So it could have came out of a Cougar, or I don't know if that's Mercury or Lincoln. I'm not sure. Kind of looks Cougarish, especially with that console. I wouldn't be surprised because it fit in here really well. What I couldn't do is the hooks for this bottom seat. I could not get it down far enough to hook the bottom of the seat. So there's a couple things that Tony gets to do, like if he wants to order up a hat shelf, maybe order some reproduction sight shields. Sight shields. They're not sight shields. They're oh gosh, sail panels. And then get this down. And some windlaces there. So that's that one. This looks new too. I think the guy replaced this because that's nice. The rubber is new. And here's what I had to get around is all this wiring, which I think goes to the siren and all that stuff. And I did get around, got it jammed the correct color. And I'll leave these off, the cover here and the cover here, until it's painted. And then I'll put them on, as well as the door panel. I'm leaving that off because the mirrors get painted off the car because it has a black, it's not a gasket, kind of a black plastic gasket for the mirror. And I don't want to paint it, so that'll have to go on after it's painted. So we will put the mirror on after it's done, and the door panel. And you can see more of the stripe removed and the original green, and I put these sight shields back on minus the chrome, obviously, and so they get painted with the car. And next is the hood comes off, and then it gets painted underneath the hood, and then I got to paint the firewall and on the edges of the fenders and some black touch-up, I think. And then that'll be done being jammed, and that'll be a load off my mind. It looks like it's just dirty under here. Looks like, I don't know what, that is really dirty. I wonder if it's road grime or, because that came off really nicely. Oh. But I'm pretty pleased. I'm glad to have the nightmare stuff done. I couldn't stand it. I had to sand off that. Had a huge ridge from the plastic gasket that the antenna sat on, because he painted it with the antenna on. And it was just bugging me to look at, so had to get rid of that. And I think that's it. So worked on the upper windows, quarters, that header panel above the trunk lid, jammed it there. Still have to put the wiring harness in the trunk for the tail lights. Sanded that. Oh, yeah, there's another major thing I did. This is done. This beautiful. This is a convex curve here. So we got, it's a compound curve because we got concave, convex, and then so convex, concave. It's just, it's not fun to do this because, you know, obviously flat is easier to work on, but it's such a pretty curve and unique to this car that you don't mind it because it's so cool. But this was pretty seriously creased or kind of sideswiped there, and also did the welded in the pieces for the these holes here, cut out the holes and POR 15'd inside the holes, and then welded in came in from the back side and welded in the pieces. And so that's done. The door's not done because it's still has the minor body work to do, and I'm sure as I sand off this clear coat I'm going to find more things like this, just as you go. That's just normal, typical. So that's where we're at. Thankfully don't have to deal with rusty quarters. Those are so nice. And these shiny spots here are POR 15, and those were kind of blistering on the paint. I don't know if they were chipped and then water got in under the paint, but they're never going to rust again. So that'll be sanded and primed, and those will never reappear. So there we go. Well, I guess this is that's it for now. It's nice to have that back together. It's a lot tidier. Did I just hit the camera? I think I'm blocking you. I'm looking in here, and you're probably looking up at the roof. There we go. Okay, there we go. Thanks for taking a look, and we'll see how far I can get on the next video. I really want to get that jammed, so maybe that'll be the surprise. And last thing will be the total body sanding and finding, getting all the little dings. And then off it goes to paint. So thank you for watching. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. And who knows if the little bell gives you notifications. I have no idea. I don't get half my notifications on the channels I subscribe to. So who knows? You know how YouTube is. But thank you, and have a good night, and I look forward to showing you the changes. This has been Steve with Born Again Torinos, and good night.